Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dumpster Diaries. I am Moses Wartooth and I am here with
Justin Allen.
And we got news, we got stories, we got it all. So we'll start off. Justin, what's on the menu for today?
Well, I think, like we always do, we, start more current events, right? And there was a story I came across and, I really think we need to talk about it. It's kind of funny, in my opinion. But it's about an illicit grow operation that was found, I believe, in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to speak too much on it because we'll watch a video first and then we'll comment on it. So let's go straight into the video, man, and we'll watch that. But it is a interesting story, to say the least.
All right.
An unexpected discovery was made inside a Stewart County church, okay? So you're looking at the church, but look what was inside. Wait, what? Yeah, the sheriff's office and a drug task force found 2,000 marijuana plants, dry and live. This was discovered after they took out a search warrant against the church on Highway 46 in Indian Mound. We're told an investigation was launched into the church weeks ago when neighbors complained about a smell coming from the building. And during interviews, people claimed hemp was growing in the church. One person's in custody. More arrests are expected to be made.
I bet that shit stank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So it was an unoccupied church, and they just ran like a fucking grow op out of it or whatever, and they had 2,000 plants?
Yeah, that's a large op.
So the neighbors complained of a smell?
I wonder how far away the church was from households.
I don't know, man.
Typically people don't live right up on a church. So, I mean...
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine, he lives in Colorado, and I went to visit him years ago, and he had a couple of plants in his house, legally and everything, right? And as soon as he opened the front door, I could, just hit you in the face, man. I was like, good God. He's like, man, I got filters on. He's like, I can't smell anything. I was like, yeah, because you live here.
You're in there, yeah.
But one thing I did notice about that video is on the outside of the church, that was Hangul, that was Korean written on the front. So I'm kind of curious, was it Koreans running some game on there,
Probably not, man. Maybe that was just to throw people off.
Could be, because, historically, Koreans are very anti-drug.
Yeah.
So
what if it's just a white dude and he's pretending to be Korean? So he's
I'm gonna get him off my trail.
Yeah.
But I like in the video too, how they talk about okay, they got busted or whatever because a neighbor smelt it. Mm-hmm. Which who knows how far down the road the neighbor was. You know? And then they turn around and they're like, oh no, it was hemp.
Yeah.
And then you can clearly see just fat buds on this plant. So I don't know.
And if it's why do they have to grow it secretly in a church if it's just him?
Yeah, if you go into the article and read it, it talks about how they had I think it was a $3,000 a month electric bill. When the police started looking into it, their water bill was high as hell. But the church wasn't operational. The doors were closed. So that's what makes it even more funnier. It's how, I don't know, did they just think that no one's ever gonna ask?
They should have hired a team of 15 people to just drive rental cars to the property on every Sunday to make it look like an active church.
Dude, if I was growing 2,000 plants like that, especially in a state where it's highly illegal still, I would definitely be putting in some effort to
try to mask it a little bit.
Try to mask that a little bit, you know what I mean? Maybe I don't know, put some tents out, those big party tents, make it seem like there's people there, oh, there's an event or something.
But just blare religious music out of the speakers where it looks like
or the 1950s laugh tracks and shit they play on sitcoms or whatever.
Good Times or something.
Yeah, dude. A crazy fact about that stuff, I read the other day that those laugh tracks for the most part are the same ones that have been being used since the 50s. So when you watch sitcoms now and you hear laughter and stuff, all those people are dead. For the most part. Yeah.
Kind of makes it.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of creepy.
Funny anymore.
It's kind of creepy, isn't it? It's ooh.
The laughter of dead children.
Way to kill a mood there, right? So I don't know. I think we both agree on this one. Cannabis should be legal anyways.
Even the news anchor was laughing about it. It's that it's not threatening. It's not dangerous. Everyone knows that shit.
It's kind of ballsy, man. I ain't gonna lie. Doing that out of a church like that.
Yeah.
I want to know how long because they'll probably never be able to prove really how long they've been doing it. You know what I mean?
And obviously those plants were fully grown, and he said they had wet and dry, which means they've already gone through a couple of grow cycles.
Yeah. God damn.
Had to. I don't know. It had to have been a pretty good while, I would think.
You saw those guys just burning huge piles of it and stuff. Did you ever see the? I think it was a BBC anchor or journalist. they were talking about, I think it was heroin. It was like some hardcore like narcotics or whatever. And they were doing like a story over it or whatever, like all this shit was like seized from Afghanistan or whatever, and they were burning it, and he's standing next to it, and then like the smoke hits him, and then he just starts uncontrollably like laughing and like giggling, and then he just like lays down and just like has to go to sleep. Like, dude, because he just gets high as fuck on.
I'm sure like he probably has zero experience with drugs in general, so like that was just one like extreme experience.
Yeah, I'll show you the video later, man. Like it's a pretty good video if you can find it, because he starts like, it's like a high pitch, like it almost sounds like a little girl like laughing. It's like he's like, okay, and now they're doing, and he's just like, it's like and he's still trying to like hold it together, but he can't because the shit's kicking in like the longer it goes on. And so yeah, dude, it's a good little clip, man. But damn, man, it takes some balls to run an operation like that, dude.
It does.
Out of a church, nonetheless, man.
Yeah, I want to know whenever it does get released. I want to see the person that was running the thing.
Like, what is it? A white dude just pretending to be Korean?
That's what I think.
Throw people off or whatever.
My money is definitely on a white guy.
Yeah, man. I wonder if like the charges get, which I guess is depends on Tennessee law, which I don't know anything about. But
yeah, I don't either.
I wonder if the charges get what's the word I'm looking for? Not exaggerated, but like aggravated, like because it's in a church.
I don't know.
If you do certain things too close to a school or like.
But if the person owns the church, and just because it's the structure of a church, I mean, he's not actively holding church services. Yeah. So just because you slap a cross on the building, does that make it a religious? I don't know.
I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Because I mean, what if I've been to a bar that was a decommissioned church.
Holy shit!
It was fucking awesome. I don't remember. It was somewhere in Europe, but it was like an old school stone church, like hundreds of fucking years old, but it had been converted into a bar. It was badass.
Holy crap!
But
yeah, man. I had a buddy of mine. He went to Hungary, and he was saying he called them ruin bars, but like they would be bars like built into like this like these old structures, man, and like the inside of. Like the bar, like it would just be like it'd be a normal bar, but then it'd be like this old brick, like stone walls and stuff, and there'd be like all these tunnels, and they'd have to like board it off and everything. Like, hey, don't go down there.
Oh, damn.
Like some catacomb shit or something, And I'm like, God, man, be kind of cool, man. But I don't know. The cops are always having to deal with weird shit.
They are.
Yeah, man.
Dude, they have, especially nowadays, they've got a tough fucking job, man.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I've been addicted here lately. I've been watching, I think it's called Police Watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they have over 1,000 videos.
Damn.
And it's just it's not live. That would be fucking crazy. But
dude, they have that
body cam
PD live show.
Really?
Yeah, it's on regular cable TV.
I need to check that out.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, but anyways.
But I've been watching like the body cam footage and stuff. And dude, just the shit these guys got to deal with, man. I'm like, holy crap, man.
Man, there's no way I could be a police officer.
I definitely, because I've watched. I'm not proud of it, but since our last episode, I'm not even joking, I probably watched at least 16 hours worth of this shit, dude.
Hey, better than frying your mind on TikTok dances, dude. At least that's something good.
People still doing that shit?
Oh,
good.
At an epidemic level, but...
Like we've talked about before on the show, like for a guy who has his face plastered all over social media, I don't really use it,
Oh, you're not missing out. But anyways, body cam videos, that shit's cool. Like, what's some of the like the top shit that you've seen?
Well, like first I want to say like after watching that much of it, I can totally understand how someone becomes jaded or has like PTSD.
Oh yeah.
Or develops like zero patience for any bullshit.
Well, you have to. They deal with typically the worst of the worst on a daily basis.
Yeah.
The bottom scum of the other society, like shitheads, most of the time, unless it's like routine traffic stop or people wanting help. But most of the time, they're assholes. So
yeah. Well, like, I've ran into a few. Like, I would say, like, most of the interactions I've had with the police have been like good or whatever.
Yeah.
Although it's always cost me time and money. But
very true on that. Yeah.
But I have ran into a few that just like have an attitude hardcore, and then so like after watching all this stuff, it kind of made me like I guess like sympathize with them a little bit. It's like fuck, like you don't really know what that dude's like dealt with, even in that day. You don't know what that dude has dealt with. But I would say, so go back to your question, man. Like the top things that I see on that, drug and alcohol related.
Just people acting like fucking idiots.
Yeah, they just get fucked up and they do stupid shit. So a lot of DUIs.
Yeah.
And then just a lot of people being high as shit in the streets and like just acting crazy as hell. But the DUIs are kind of funny, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like those are pretty good. But I do want to talk about one. Fuck, I wanted to pull it up, man, but it's like a 38-minute body cam footage or some crap. Like it would take a while to like put in the whole story arc into this. But it was this girl, dude, and I think it was in Michigan. And she's driving, and she's in a 4-way intersection, right? Like in the turning lane. So she's got 2 lanes on each side of her, right? Mm-hmm. And she's in this turning lane, and she's sitting there, and she passes out drunk behind the wheel. Foot on the brake. The truck is not in park. Foot on the brake. So obviously, cops roll up. It's like, say the bars close at like 2. It's like 2:30.
Okay.
You know, so like they know exactly what they're walking into, right? And so they pull up, and the first cop pulls up, gets behind her, and he gets out, and then he's like, dude, I mean, at first he tries to be nice and lightly tap on the window. He's like, hello, like, ma'am, wake up, wake up, wake up.
She's like out of it.
And dude, she's like head fully back, mouth open, like drool coming down, like she is out of it, dude. And so then he starts like aggressively beating on the fucking window. He's like, wake up. And he's like shaking the truck and shit. So then other troopers arrive. And so they kind of do her dirty. So they take a cruiser and they bring it in front of her, like her truck or whatever, like her car. Well, it was a truck, I believe. Bring it in front of her truck, like 3 inches from the bumper. And like the other cops spotting him, like, hey, keep going, get closer, because they didn't want her to like drive off or take her foot off the brake.
So they're
boxing her in, right? So obviously the foot comes off the brake at some fucking point. They break into her truck, like, I mean, like,
and she's still asleep.
Well, she wakes up once they get into it. Then she's like, oh fuck, you know,
what's going on?
And her foot comes off the brake, and she lightly taps the cruiser in front of her. That becomes a key role, like in her charges later. But she tries to play it cool, and like she cannot talk. Like it's just like slurring. Like it's bad.
She's wasted.
Oh, excuse me. Oh yeah, totally. Like just completely 3 sheets to the wind. Like no idea. And so they pull her aside. They're doing their field sobriety. They're going through everything and all this other stuff, man. And you know, they're asking like, how much have you had to drink? Like all this other stuff. And she's like, I had 2 drinks. And then she can like barely stand straight and shit. So then she starts catching a fucking attitude with the cops, which is like the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
And
especially in that situation.
Yeah. Not that it should matter, but she was actually a relatively good looking younger white chick.
I mean, that gives her some points.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, like all that shit. You know what I mean? So I was like, come on, work with what you got here, lady.
Yeah.
But she had that fucking attitude, man. And they were just,
from being an attractive white woman.
Yeah, that's just not gonna go over how you think it's gonna go over, man. And so they start just like questioning her and everything and stuff, and they got her doing field sobriety, and she starts refusing shit. She's like, I'm not blowing in a breathalyzer. And then she starts demanding, like, I don't think it was like her brother-in-law or like somebody she knew was state police. These are just local PD.
Okay.
I called them troopers earlier, but they're just local PD. And she starts naming him by name. Right.
I'm sure that guy's like, do not say my name. Like,
yeah, dude. And they're like, we have no idea who you're talking about, ma'am. Like, this is the whole state. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, I'm not doing anything until so-and-so shows up and all this other shit. So then they start really like putting the fucking vice down on her ass, dude. And they're like, well, first of all, you're clearly drunk. Like, if you don't blow, I guess, like, I think it was Michigan, I believe, if I remember right. If you don't blow in a breathalyzer on the spot when they ask you to, when they have probable cause,
you get hauled in.
You get hauled in, but even if it's 0.0, like or 0.00, your license is revoked for 1 year.
Oh damn!
Just for refusing. Yes. So
because realistically, why the hell are you going to refuse if you have nothing to? If you're not drunk.
You know, it's just one of those laws, man. So,
yeah.
So anyway, they end up like hauling her ass in and shit like that, and she's making a fucking scene, and they get there, and she's just like talking shit to the cops, like, I'm gonna have y'all's badges, I want my lawyer, I'm not doing shit, fuck y'all, like she's cussing at him and shit like that, just acting crazy as fuck, dude. And I was like, damn, some people just cannot handle alcohol very well. And so then their machine is broke, so they're like, well, we gotta take you to
their breathalyzer machine is broke?
Like it wasn't working, it wasn't calibrated or some shit, like something was wrong with it, so they were like, all right, we have to take you to the hospital to take your blood. And it becomes this whole thing. She's like, I'll blow in a breathalyzer right now. Like, I guess one of the
because she knew that it wasn't working.
I guess we're one of the regular street ones, and they were like, we're kind of past that at this point.
You're like, you already lost that right to take the easy way,
dude. So like, they wheel her into like the hospital, dude, and she vomits in the back of the fucking truck, like the cruiser or whatever, and I think she pissed in it too.
Oh.
And then she was like talking shit to the cops. She was like, "You're gonna have to clean up my vomit and stuff, like my puke, like whatever, fuck y'all, like all this other shit." So they got her all like in handcuffs. They get a wheelchair. They slam her ass in there. They wheel her right in there.
Fucking mat spit guard thing on her too. Like you can puke on yourself.
Right, yeah, man. So she obviously was like clearly fucked up and went to jail and all sort of shit. But I was like, just seeing how stupid people are. Like, you can get in legal trouble, but just be polite and just like cooperate. You know, don't incriminate yourself.
At the end of the day, like any kind of being an asshole, first of all, in any situation is not going to make things better for you, no matter what the fuck is going on. Like, outside of a police scenario, even if you're, I don't know, even if you're in a restaurant, even if you got accused of something you didn't do, like, don't be an asshole. It's not going to help you out.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, it's definitely gonna make life a lot more difficult.
Yeah, it's in your best interest to just try to be calm, smooth things over, like try to be somewhat cooperative. I don't know,
man. And then like, I don't know, like, I mean, I told you, you know, I lived in Shreveport, Louisiana for like a long time.
Yeah.
Well, not a long time, but a couple years. And I had a job working at a nightclub, checking IDs there. Mm-hmm. So we would have cops, like on-duty police, they'd come and walk through, right? Because Shreveport's just a very violent city.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's literally like the 8th most dangerous city in America, like according to like the most recent FBI statistics, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so the cops just come and do walkthroughs and shit, you know, because we had a huge nightclub. I mean, we had like, I don't even remember, like, average, I'd say probably like several hundred people in there.
Yeah.
Like on a Friday or Saturday night. And just, dude, this shit. I mean, first of all, the guys were cool as hell to like all the employees and stuff. Because, I mean, like, we're obviously just doing our job. We're not causing any issues.
Yeah,
They come in all the time. So I got to know some of these guys pretty well. And some of them were like former military that just got out and just stayed there and became like local PD or whatever. But, dude.
What were they looking for? Like, just people being too wasted, like doing drugs? Like,
it was more of a deterrence thing, actually.
Oh, okay. So just just be like, from, like, we know there's cops here. That shit.
Yeah, it was mostly for like fights and stuff like that, you know. And because it was a country themed bar, so, you know, rednecks like to throw fists sometimes, or they have like 6 too many Bud Lights or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, but like a few things I saw there, man. Like I kind of want to tell you these stories. I don't think I've even told you some of these stories, to be honest with you. So I got two. I got two we'll talk about real quick, man. And once again, this just ties into like me developing like, I guess, like sympathy for cops, like trying to understand like the shit that they deal with all the time. And so one day I'm sitting here, I'm checking IDs, right? And it's like a Friday night or something. Like, it's pretty busy. And this girl comes up, and so Shreveport was like really known for having like a lot of casinos. Like in that region, go any direction, like what, a couple 100 miles. It's really the only place that has like real casinos for the most part.
Sure. Yeah,
you know,
like people go there to gamble.
Yeah, you can find some like Indian reservation stuff, but I mean, like if you want like the Vegas style stuff,
to like walk around and see multiple casinos in one area, like.
And so like this lady, but like the club is, I mean, it's a few miles away from like the nearest casino. Mm-hmm. Like it's a little bit of a drive. It's gonna take you a minute to get there.
Yeah.
And so this girl comes walking out of the dark, like out of the parking lot, like didn't pull up in a car or anything. And she's got like a Margaritaville bag, like she just came from the casino. And, you know, she was drunk. I could tell she was drunk, but she wasn't causing issues and she wasn't being, like, belligerent with me. Mm-hmm. So she gave me her ID. She was totally fine.
She was coherent enough to get in there.
Yeah. So I was like, here you go. Like, all right, thank you, ma'am. Like, have a good day. Mm-hmm. So she goes behind me to pay to get in. And I'm sitting there. And now, like, once I let them pass me, like, I don't care what happens after that.
Yeah, that's not your problem.
Like, I'm not a bouncer. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not police.
You got your job. You did it.
Right?
That's not your shit anymore.
And so I don't even see what's starting to happen. So she gets up there and she's trying to pay, but then it's almost like, I think she was actually on some drugs too or something, man, because it's like almost like all the shit hit her at once. And she could not like function. And she was just like stumbling and like swaying and shit. And then she was like, could not get money. She couldn't get the $5 for the cover charge to get in, right?
Okay.
And so, and it was holding up a bunch of people because all of a sudden it got really crowded. I was like, what the fuck? And then I turned around and look, and the general manager is like butting heads with this girl. Like, she's getting an attitude. And he always was, like, cool as fuck with people. He would be like, if he had to deny him service, he'd be like, hey, like, you're having a bad night, whatever. He was like, I tell you what, if you come back tomorrow night or come back next week, he was like, your first drink's on me. We'll comp your cover charge. Like, you know, like, stuff just happens, man.
He's trying to work with them.
Yeah. And from what I saw, most people don't even care for that.
I'm sure by the time they're at that point, they're too far gone to even understand any, like, logical, like conversation shit. So.
And so, like, he was like, you need to leave. Eventually, it becomes like a heated thing. Mm-hmm. And she starts trying to push past him.
Oh, okay.
And then he's being very, very, like, careful to not, like, put his hands on her.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of, like, standing in front of her. And then he just, like, hollers at, like, the girl working the register. And he's like, call the police. And so the cops roll up, and she's just like, she's screaming like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, you can't tell me what to do. Like, blah, 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 blah. You know who I am. And it's just like, oh my God, dude. And she wasn't even a bad looking girl either. Like, I was like, why? What is wrong with you? But anyway, so cops roll up, and they're like, immediately, like, one thing I noticed, like, with those guys, if they were called to that club, like, they arrest first, ask questions second. Like, they're just like, hey, put your hands behind your back. Like, they'll just like...
Well, they probably know. They're like, if it has came to the point where we have to be called, then you were beyond talking to. Like,
and so she starts trying to fight the cops, right? And so they, like, got her, like, they got her all handcuffed and shit like that, dude. And then she's, like, trying to fight him, and they're trying to get her into a cruiser, and she's trying to fight her. And she turns around, and she looks at one cop, and she calls him a pig. She's like, fuck you, pig. And I hear her hawk the biggest loogie and spits in his fucking face, dude. And so he just instantly pulls out the fucking mace, pop, hits her in the fucking face, and then another cop goes to the back of the cruiser, grabs that net, and just fucking puts it in her head and zips it.
Hell yeah.
And I watched like 4 cops pick her up at the same time and throw her in the back of the cruiser so hard that she hits the other door. It rocks, and then they slam the door shut, and I was like, whew, like all you had to do was turn around and leave. That's all you had to do, man.
Oh, man.
You know?
Dude, that if spitting in someone's face is the most disgusting, disrespectful fucking act, man. Like, if someone does that to you, you have every right to just do whatever the fuck at that point. Like, just lose your mind, black out, whatever.
For sure, dude. They did. And then, so the second story. Sorry, so I guess the first point I'm trying to make here is just cooperate. Like, don't necessarily self-incriminate, but like,
no, you don't have to talk. If you just shut the fuck up and just say nothing,
and don't cause any more problems, dude. Yeah. Like, they will typically, from what I've seen, they'll try to work with you to some degree.
Especially if you just didn't say one word.
You just act like you're retarded.
Yeah, they wouldn't know what to do with you first off, but they wouldn't be mean to you.
This guy's he actually can't even talk.
You're like, oh shit, is he a fucking mute? Whatever.
Yeah, dude. So cooperate is my biggest one. Another one is don't be a hero. Okay. So we'll circle back to the title of this next story, but we'll just call it "Don't Be a Hero." All right. So a mother and a daughter, and I don't know what kind of household some of these people like grew up in, but like sometimes I would see like a mother and a daughter out together getting like belligerently wasted. Mm-hmm. Like the mother would be like 50 years old partying like she's like 25. 22. You know what I mean? Like, and the daughter
like
would
the
be
age of the daughter.
Yeah. And so
sorry, she's I'm sure she's one of the ones where they show up together. She's like, we always get confused as sisters.
Yeah, dude, exactly. And I was just like, to me, that's like a real cringy thing. You know what I mean?
Especially because it's so obvious that they're not. Like, clearly you're old, bitch. Calm down. Like,
so anyway, freaking this mother and daughter, like, they were in there. It was late towards the end of the night, but it wasn't closing. We were probably like an hour out. And at first, I just thought they were on like, I just thought they were just drunk. And then when I started seeing them later, I was like, oh, the daughter at least is on some sort of like downers, like Xanax or something mixed with alcohol. Like,
like nodding off, drooling.
Yeah, I think they both were. Yeah. And so anyway, they ended up like getting in an argument. Like they walked outside
with each other?
Yeah, they walked outside the club, and then they were getting in like an argument or whatever, and then they started like fucking fighting, right? And I was like, what the fuck? And they were like hardcore going at it, like cat fighting and shit like that, dude. And I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. And so like me and like 3 other dudes who work there, like we break this shit up, right? And the daughter just is like crying, and she's sitting down, and you can't even, she's slurring so bad, like it's beyond alcohol, like, at this point. Like, yeah, and she was just like I was like, what the fuck? And so she just sits down on the curb. Then the mother starts like trying to swing on like the general manager and shit, right? And so he yells at like the girls at the front. He was like, "Hey, call the police like right now."
Yeah.
And then she's just so violent, and then she falls down trying to fight him. And then he literally just like, she like lays on her, she's on her back, and he just grabs her like wrist and holds him up, and he was like, "Hold her ankles."
Oh
like,
shit.
So I had to like sat here and held her ankles because she was trying to kick like with boots on and shit.
Damn.
And she was like trying to scratch and claw, and he just held his arms.
Oh.
And he was dude, he was the calmest dude ever. He was just like, "Calm down, it'll be all right." And he's just like looking around for the cops. He was like,
Like,
you know,
where are these guys?
so the cops come and instantly puts them both in handcuffs.
Yeah.
Right? And so it goes on for a little while or whatever. So, but the mother and the daughter are like sitting in handcuffs behind their back, and they're sitting on the curb, and like up at the front, like where you do like valet parking or something like
Okay,
that,
yeah.
right? And so everyone sees this coming in, right? They're like, "Ooh, this is a good night."
Like, whoa, we can't wait to get in there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like when I see shit like that, I'm like, that's gonna be a lively night.
I'd be like, ooh.
What'd you do?
Yeah.
It was that shit we always talk about. Like that's like the shit from like high school where everybody's like, "Ooh."
Yeah, you're in
like,
trouble.
It's like the best feeling in the world
Yeah,
when it's not
when it's
you.
not you,
Yeah,
yes.
you know. And so like, the daughter's trying to talk to the police, and then the mother's just like cussing. She's like, "Shut up, shut the fuck up, don't talk to them." Like blah 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 blah.
Oh, okay.
And then,
telling her daughter.
Yeah, then they're going at it, and the cops eventually are just like, "Fuck it, we're gonna take them to jail."
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna at least like book them and like all this other shit for like I think a drunken disorderlies, if I remember that's what they were talking about. Can't remember what Chris was saying. That was one of the cops I knew. But anyway, so going back to don't be a hero. So the daughter is a very attractive girl. Okay, sundress, boots, skinny, blue eyes, dark hair, good looking. My brother, who walks out of the club, decides he wants to play hero.
Oh god.
All right, and so it's this guy, and I'm just trying to paint a picture for you, okay? White dude, mid-20s, looks like he was an extra on Sons of Anarchy, okay? And so, like, he wasn't even listed in the credits, let's put it that way, you know what I mean? So, and so the cops are, like, trying to get these two women into their cruiser or whatever. Mm-hmm. And one thing they do, like, I'm sure you've seen this before, but when you're handcuffed behind your back, how they'll get you up is they'll just start pulling up on your arms, and it
Yeah,
just
so where you
and like it'll hurt so bad. You
have to get up.
You will get up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cops do this to this like good-looking girl or whatever, and she's like, "Ow, you're hurting me! Oh my god!" Like, sure, it was uncomfortable, but definitely over-exaggerated.
again cooperate. It's not gonna hurt.
I'm like, lady, you look like you're on Oxycontin right now. I'm sure you're not feeling a fucking thing. So the guy, like, he was like, "Hey, don't put your hands on her like that." Why he thinks that's a good idea to go tell the police what they can and can't do, which
to a person who's already in custody.
yes,
like-
say it. Just keep, he was leaving the club. Looked like he was going to his car.
He doesn't even know these people, right?
Doesn't know, has no idea who
Just
they were.
walked out, saw a hot chick.
He was trying to play the hero, and then he walks.
It's too late for that.
Yeah, and then he walks up behind the cop because the cops just ignore him.
Yeah.
And then he walks up behind the cop, and his partner fucking
him.
swings around, has his hand on his taser. He's like, "Get the fuck back!" And then, dude, that shit sent a shiver down my spine. He's like, "Don't you ever walk up on a police officer like that." Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because they don't know, you get stabbed, shot, whatever, you know? And he was like 10 feet back now, and the guy was like talking shit, and then he got in the cop's face, and he was like,
Oh my god.
and they, at this point, they'd already, I know this is a long story, but this goes back to just don't be a hero. Like, dude, I watched them. It was like that dude that cop had to have MMA training, dude, or some shit, because he grabs him by the wrist and like twists his like shoulder where his arm is like fully extended outwards, where he has control of the guy, and just slams him against the cruiser. And the guy's like, "What the fuck, man? Like, what are you doing?" And then he was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And he puts the handcuffs on him and he throws him in the back of a second cruiser that had already showed up. So that dude went to jail, and then that mother and that daughter went to jail that night too, man. So don't be a fucking hero, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the cops. Like, just let them, like, if you're in the right, that's what court's for.
Yeah.
Go to court or make your argument there, man. You're not gonna solve that problem on like a Friday night, you know, when you got done just two-stepping a Copperhead
Yeah,
Road or
dude.
whatever on Oxy and fucking 6 margaritas deep or whatever. God, sorry, I know it was a ramble, man, but that's dude. I mean, I worked there for like 2 years, dude, so I got like a hell of stories from that place, man.
God, man. But I will say, especially the people that are like, "Oh, fuck cops," all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
First off, like every other goddamn profession, it's just people in the, I guess, human services industry are like hospitality, healthcare,
public service.
Public service, yeah. So like, obviously, people, and as a whole, there's good people and bad people.
Sure, absolutely.
So police, good and bad. Also, the same can be said for fucking doctors. There's plenty of doctors who are not good. Yeah, as far as like they don't give a shit about patients at all. They just want to prescribe the pills, get paid, versus an actual person that wants to heal you. It's all the same. It just depends on what position that person gets put in on how they can affect people's lives.
You think Michael Jackson's doctor was a good doctor?
He was after the check.
Yeah, but he went. I don't know if you remember. He went to prison over that shit.
Which, I mean,
dude, they ran the toxicology.
That was probably his fault. Yeah.
Yeah, they ran the toxicology. What he was administering to Michael, like, and it was insane. Like they brought in like expert witnesses, like other doctors, and they were like, "There's no way I would ever give this to a human being in these quantities or mix these drugs together."
I mean, to be fair, old Mikey had quite the tolerance built up. He probably needed a lot of that stuff. But
I just need another bump.
Yeah.
Hey man, fuck it. I like Michael Jackson. I don't give a shit. His music's good, man. This shit come on the radio, I'll be driving, I'll fucking sing that shit.
I mean, he's the only one, which, I don't know. Macaulay Culkin said nothing ever happened.
I watched that. I watched the interview. I believe him, man.
He was like, he was like, he did say they slept in the same bed, but he was like, no weird shit happened at all. Like, it was like a platonic relationship. He was like, I don't know.
Yeah, because Macaulay Culkin was like,
Macaulay has no reason to lie. He
spent a lot of time over there.
Yeah.
Like, basically lived over there. And he was like, I never one time saw anything inappropriate ever happen. Well, there you go. But who fucking knows, right?
I mean, he could have done weird shit to other people. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have been like, Macaulay is my friend, but I'm still going to diddle a random kid. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to need a witness or two in court to back me up. So, like, I mean, I don't know. You never know, man. People are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, so cops got to deal with crazy shit all the time, man. So, I don't know. But that kind of, like, reminds me, like, we talked about the serial killer in L.A., dude. You heard about that
this
shit?
Is a recent thing.
Yeah. So allegedly now they have a dude named Jared Powell in custody. I believe he was 33 years old. They have him in custody right now. They suspect he's the killer.
Gotta be a white dude.
Yeah, I don't know. But I haven't seen, like, a picture of the actual guy they arrested, though. But I saw, like, surveillance footage, which we'll watch in the video here in a minute. And, God, it's such shitty footage, man. It looks like it was filmed on, like, an old Nokia phone or some shit, dude. It's like, come on, man.
Like the old YouTube comments filmed with potato. Yeah. Remember that shit from, like, 12 years ago?
Yeah, dude. So, I don't know. So, I guess the guy was, like, running around, like, capping homeless people and shit, And, like, my fucked up sadistic side of my head, I was just like, oh, that's how they cleaned up. I know it was Los Angeles, but I was like, oh, that's probably what they did in San Francisco. They just put, like, killers on the loose to clean it up whenever the fucking Xi Jinping came over.
They just euthanized them like dogs in the street.
yeah, dude. And when I first heard that there was a serial killer killing homeless in L.A., because, that's a big issue that L.A. has.
Homeless?
Yeah. Well, L.A.'s home to Skid Row, brother.
Yeah. Like,
that's, like, the worst, like, place for, like, homeless, and it's, like, worldwide known, dude. Like, in America, at least.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, man, like, my fucked up head, I was like, dude, they're probably never gonna, quote unquote, catch this guy.
They're just gonna let him keep going.
Let him keep going, dude. But yeah, man, we can pull up the video, man, and watch that or whatever little news. News report on it.
All right.
Helping now, the city of Los Angeles and the LAPD have issued a community bulletin as officers search for a killer targeting the homeless population. In the span of 5 days, 3 men were shot and killed as they slept on the streets. NBC4's Bailey Miller is live at LAPD headquarters this morning with what we're being asked to do if we have a loved one who's homeless right now. Bailey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Michelle. Yes, LAPD and the city of LA urging anyone who knows anyone who is homeless, that could be a family member, a friend, to reach out to them, check on them, and make sure they're aware of this situation because they say one man may be responsible for these killings. Take a look at this. Investigators have gathered this video evidence of the man who they say may be responsible and a car that may be connected. According to LAPD Chief Michael Moore, 3 homeless men were killed in 3 separate shootings in different parts of Los Angeles. The shootings happening in the early morning hours of Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Take a look at that map.
That looks like David.
All occurred in different areas of Los Angeles. Chief Michael Moore says the homeless men killed were 37, 52, and 62.
The commonalities amongst these homicides are that each of the victims were in an open area, whether it be a sidewalk or an alley. They were alone. And from other information that we've gathered to this point, we believe a single individual approached each one and shot and killed each one as they slept.
Now, as police search for the killer, more announced they have created a task force working around the clock to gather evidence. They are also increasing patrols near homeless populations. Now, Mayor Karen Bass urging people to talk about this, to raise awareness, of course, once again, to mention this. Tell any of the homeless people you may know in your life about this. She's also urging the homeless population to travel in groups and not sleep alone. Reporting live here in downtown.
You want to start shitting on this, or you want me to?
Okay, so first, like, being homeless is already dangerous as fuck.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, those people have to, I mean, they have to, like, people get robbed, raped, everything, OD, like, anything is possible. Like, why are they worried about 3 of them dying? Like, one person's going to take out a population of homeless people? I'm pretty sure more homeless people just die every day besides that shit anyways. Like,
yeah.
Not to say the value of human
yeah, that's where I was going to go with that. Like, I was like, you know, they can't just let a killer run rampant or whatever. I mean, I guess they could. I don't know. I'm actually, like, you imagine the mayor sitting there, like the mayor of Los Angeles is like chief of police, like, all right, we got to find this guy. We got these task force. He's like, ooh, hold on.
He's like, or do we?
Let's see how this plays out, brother. It's like, you know, go kick rocks or whatever. So, I don't know. I'm actually surprised they do have anybody in custody because, okay, first of all, that freaking surveillance
There's no way that fucking picture of the guy was like, oh, that's him, we got him caught.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, that looked like, you remember early X-Files? Like some sort of ghost or monster they would see like on a screen.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Like a Bigfoot sighting or something.
Yeah, where it's super blurry.
Yeah.
You know, so that's exactly what that looked like in that surveillance footage, man.
Like, if someone hadn't have told me that was a person, I wouldn't even have known that was a human being right there.
Yeah, and like what gets me too, man, is like, dude, they make cameras now that are like 8K cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like standard, like even cheap surveillance packages
even a
are like
$30
4K.
Ring cameras are excellent quality.
Yeah, they're like 4K and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, why is this shit so blurry? So like when I saw that, I was like,
do they really
want to solve this? You know?
What if that's the only evidence they have is they bring up that picture and they're like, there's the guy.
Yeah, it's
The
just some
jury's like,
fucking
are
dude.
you shitting me, man?
Dude, I'd love to be on that jury. I've never had jury. Have you ever had jury duty?
I've been called up to jury duty and I was excited because like, I don't know. At the time, I was like, oh, hell yeah, jury duty. Maybe I'll get put on a murder case. This will be cool. And then I got there, and there's like over 120 people there just got picked for jury duty. Like, the room was filled with people.
Is it all for the same case?
Yes.
Jesus,
So just
man.
being there, that automatically, I was like, what the fuck? And then we had to fill out a bunch of information about, like, the kind of person we are type shit. Basically, like they didn't want traffic stop, we're voting for the death penalty type stuff. Or, like, racist shit, obviously.
Or, like, have you ever had any, like, altercations with the police or something like that? Like
basically
run-ins,
any
like,
kind of random shit. But anyway, like, after, like, 4 hours in, I was like, please, God, do not pick me for this shit.
Yeah, I would have just started saying crazy shit so they wouldn't pick me.
Yeah, I got out of it. I mean, I didn't get picked, and I was thankful for that. So I don't. After that, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to ever do that shit again.
In the future, you should just get like a shirt that has that. Was it ACAB?
Oh,
all cops are bastards.
yeah.
You should just have that across like your chest and just like sit down, be like, so what's up? We here for jury duty? It's like, yeah, this is gonna. We're not picking this guy. You know?
You can go ahead and go now.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do it, man. Check it out, man, and like see, dude. But I'm telling you right now, like, if I'm ever on jury duty, man, that's gonna be a hung jury. And I just like the guy. Let's say hypothetically, a guy got caught with like in Texas, got caught with like a pound of weed, right? And like, it was like on camera, like there was no denying this guy.
It was like him holding the pound, like
yeah, you know, like, and the entire jury could just be like, yeah, he's guilty. I'd be the one guy, be like, I don't think he did it, you know, like, and then just have him like a hung jury, like where it's like, I don't know, was that go to his mistrial or some shit?
I think so.
I think they can retry you or whatever, right? Yeah. But it just delays, like, you know, the whole process by months or whatever. And be like, you good, dude? I got you, bro. Just give him like a solid like fist bump on the way out, you know, or like throw like a .09 DUI out the fucking door or some shit like that. Where it's like a dude had like literally 3 sips too much of like a beer, and it's like, nah, he's good.
Really? You know? He caused a 14-car pileup. You're like, oh, but Was it because of the alcohol? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd ever want to do like a murder case, like something that serious, like a murder case, because that's going to be a long time you're going to be doing that.
Yeah.
You know? Because, I mean, you see some of those high-profile cases, man, like, those court cases, they'll go on for, like, it'll be like a month-long process, dude, of, like, constantly coming back and going back over evidence.
Dude, sometimes, and then even, like, the jury, like, sometimes they'll be in there debating that shit for, like, weeks at a time, like, weeks on end.
And then, like, especially when it's, like, high-profile cases like that, dude, like, the shit that happened with the O.J. Simpson trial, man, like, dude, they locked that entire jury in a hotel.
Yeah.
And they weren't allowed to watch, like, TV, like, they couldn't have newspapers, and, like, those people were going fucking crazy, dude.
And all for the price of $10 a day.
Yeah. Yeah. So they, like, literally had police, like, guarding them. They're like, no, go back to your room. Like, we'll come get you when we need you. And they're just like, I'm done with this shit. Like, you know.
I'm always wondering, like, what about people, what if you lost your home or something because you were getting $10 a day? And, like, you can't afford your shit anymore.
I'm sure you could probably sue.
Maybe, but you would think there would have to be some, like,
extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, like
where
some
it's
way
like,
to
we have
circumvent
to pay this
that.
guy, like,
yeah, at least to where he can continue living his fucking life.
Yeah, we can't give him free breakfast and a $10 fucking comp card to, like, Buffalo Wild Wings or
when
whatever
he's
the
got,
fuck
like,
we
a
do.
$2,000 mortgage and shit.
Yeah, it's like he's got like a family and shit.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
who the fuck's taking my kids to school, man? You know, it's like, yeah, dude. I don't know. I'd like to try. I'd like to do it one time, man. Just one time, say I did it, but I don't know. They got pissed. I missed it one time. I got picked for it.
What do they do if you miss? I know it's like you're not supposed to miss, but
I thought I was like in some serious trouble, man.
do they like send you multiple letters and? Or what
So when I first moved back to Texas, the first address I was living in, they sent it to that address, like right when I was moving out.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get this letter until, and they only sent it like a month out or some shit.
Yeah.
Ended up getting the letter like 2 weeks after, or some shit. So I was like, oh crap. So my first thought,
Wait for that.
yeah, my first thought was throw it in the trash, like call it good.
Yeah.
And then I had friends, they were like, oh, don't do that. They were like, you can actually get in like legit trouble for not responding back to them or whatever. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I call this dude, and it's like this, I don't know, municipal city worker. The dude, you could tell he was on a power trip. And I was like, I get on the phone, I explain the situation. And I'm like, hey, I was like, you know, I was summoned for this. I was like, but I missed the date. I didn't get the mail until, you know, after the fact. And then he just starts grilling me. Like, he's a police investigator. And he was like, well, what's your justification for not responding?
You're like, wait, I'm not on trial here. I was supposed to go to the jury on this.
Yeah, I was like, what? like, like trying to charge me with something?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do shit, dude. You know, so, but fuck it, it round and round we went, man, for like, I mean, it was a solid, like, 10-minute conversation. I was like, dude, I moved. I was like, it's not my fault. I was like, you guys honestly should be sending these out like way further in advance, man. Like, you should have like blocked off, like I should know that, hey, like 1 week out of next year, I'm going to be on the hook for jury duty.
Yeah.
If something comes up, that's my week I have to do it. Not like, oh, you have 30 days, you didn't respond.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to get a ticket.
That would be a better.
You know?
That would be a better way to handle things. Is just
Better
be like,
system.
okay, you're on. Like, if anything comes up in the week of this, you have to report. But other than that, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's like a known thing, that is a good idea.
Yeah, man. So, I don't know, dude. We'll see. But I mean, eventually the guy, he's like, all right. He was like, well, he's like, it sounded like he hit one button on the phone.
Yeah.
And then, like, he was like, I'll put you back in the pool. You'll be fine.
I'd have been like, first off, you're welcome for even calling and acknowledging that this shit even happened. Like, I'm sure 99% of people just throw that shit in the trash can. They're like, never happened.
Dude, only 50% of the country even files a fucking tax return.
Yeah, that's true too.
And so, how many do you think actually respond to like jury duty summons?
And do you think like some dude that has like a high-powered business job, like he's not gonna take time off to do that shit?
No, you gonna find a reason to get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, like I'm dying.
I remember my mom had to do it one time.
Really?
She got summoned for it, and she was like, "Look, I can't do this." She was like, "I work, like I can't do this." And the judge was a dick to her, and he was like, "Well, it's your civic duty. You have to do this." And she was like, "No, I can't." So she eventually got out of it. Like, she talked to him for like 10 more minutes or shit, but she was like, he was an asshole about it. And I was like, look, there's plenty of, I was like, they should just make unemployed people do it. Be like, you want that $10, whatever, you ain't doing anything else.
If you're actively collecting unemployment, be
yeah,
like, you're the number
that's
one.
the perfect
Damn,
jury
that's a
pool.
good idea,
They're not fucking
man.
doing anything else.
That's a good idea. Be like, hey, you're the number one pick for this.
Yeah, and if you don't, we're going to stop sending you a fucking check every month.
Damn.
Then they would have to show up unless they wanted to, like, you want to continue getting paid.
Shit, that's actually not a bad
Hold
idea.
their goddamn EBT cards.
Just hold them for ransom.
Yeah, be like, we're gonna stop payment. You ain't gonna be able to get those cheese puffs, man.
Cheese puffs. Yeah, I don't know, man. So civic duty, man. Could you imagine if like we had a judge tell us that? I'd be like, you want to talk about civic
Don't
duty?
you tell me about civic duty, man.
Like become like one of those crazy vets where we just start talking about military service and shit. You know, like fuck you, man. Did like a decade in the military. Like I'm done with this shit.
Be like, Operation Enduring Freedom. Mean anything to you? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah. Sorry, I guess it wasn't your civic duty.
Yeah.
Like just turn it around on him. I don't know, man. Also, I couldn't be a judge. I'd be too cool if I was a judge, man. I'd be like throwing shit. I'd be just throwing shit out the fucking window.
It would depend. I would be extremely harsh on some things and super lenient on other shit.
You'd just be like super harsh on like the pettiest things, you know?
Like, well, yeah, like
jaywalking.
You son of a bitch.
Freaking out.
Do you know how many people get killed because of jaywalking?
People like you are the scum of this earth, you know? God.
He's like, sir, I just didn't wait 3 seconds for the traffic light to change.
I think it'd be cooler being a district attorney, though.
Yeah.
Because those are the guys that decide if, like, the state is going to actually prosecute you or not. You know what I mean? So they actually really have a lot of power. They can just throw a case out and be like, no, drop the charges.
Like the DA of San Francisco.
What about him?
That's why she, like,
Or her.
she apparently just throws out 99% of all the cases, especially on theft stuff.
Oh, shit,
That's why, like, whenever people are getting arrested, like, I watched videos and interviews that the people, like, criminals, and they were like, shout out to the DA, she don't care about shit. They were saying that's...
You were telling me about it. What was the term that they're using?
Blipping.
Blipping.
Yeah, blipping is basically it's the new age smash and grab, where you'll fucking, they'll use a spark plug or something to bust out a windshield or a car window, take whatever's in there, but they're also doing it to, like, stores like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, any high value item they'll take. Yeah. But the thing of it is, like, so they had a proposition, it was Prop 47, back, like, 13 years ago or so, quite a while ago.
Prop 47, is that the entire state of California, or was that just San Francisco?
San Francisco.
Okay.
So the citizens voted on it to pass, so that used to anything theft over $450 was a felony. So, but now anything under $949.99, anything under that is a misdemeanor. So
it's like, oh, I just bit my lip. Damn, that hurt. Like, you know, but so they literally just get like a parking ticket.
Yeah,
basically?
it's the essential to a parking ticket.
Class C misdemeanor. Like, here, just pay this fine, you'll be good.
Yep. So, and that's only per store. So, like, you can go into Gucci, steal a handbag, go into Louis Vuitton, steal something, go into Versace, steal something, go to the Sunglass Hut, get you some shades, and you'll just get 4 tickets. So it doesn't combine your totals. Like, if you were to get pulled over, they'll just be like, well, that's from one store, that's from another, and you'll just get different citations on that.
That's so stupid, man.
Yeah. But anyway, so, like, they'll get a slap on the wrist, and then the DA just, apparently she never fucking proceeds into any, like, legal penalties for it. So that's why they're doing that shit. That's why it's a goddamn free-for-all down there.
Well, I remember you telling me that they were, like, figuring out that a lot of people doing it were actually from out of, like, state.
Yeah, like, because it's money.
Yeah, because, like, as you're telling me this, right, like, I'm not a thief by any means, right, but, like, as you're telling me this, I'm like, okay, let's say the ticket hypothetically is $500, right? Well, what if I steal $900 worth of product and then I can go sell it for, like, $700? I'm just going to make $200 off that after I pay my fine to sell my products?
Yeah, and that's if you get caught.
It's if you get caught, yeah.
And that's, like... It's like the border down there. Like, they're like thousands and thousands of people are coming over. They're probably catching like 10.
It's just like open season.
So the odds are you're going to get away with doing whatever the hell you're going to do out there anyways.
Oh, God almighty, man. I don't know if that city's ever going to turn around, dude.
It would take some major reform. Like, people would have to, I don't know. It's too far gone at this point. You
should tell him about the guy you told me about. The guy who's gotten like a ridiculous number of like tickets. And he just keeps doing. He's like giving interviews about it and shit.
Yeah. He's like he's gotten arrested or charged with theft 44 times.
Yeah.
And he's not served a day in jail.
Wasn't his name Jack the
Blipper?
Jack the Blipper. And like he's just like bragging about just walking in these stores stealing shit.
Yeah. But there's organized crime gangs that go down there and just systematically hit stores.
Yeah.
So it's crazy out there. Which to be like, I don't really care so much about like robbing a Gucci store. That's whatever. But the people that are like, there would be like a mom with her kids in the car and they'll straight run up on them and bust out the windows and steal all the shit out of them. Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
They're like they're robbing people which I have more of a problem with than robbing like corporate America.
Sure,
I mean, still wrong, but I kind of look a little bit.
I can see a little bit of Robin Hood-esque to it, you know?
Yeah,
like, you know, like, nobody gives a shit about Apple. You remember when all the peaceful protests started around, like, the BLM movement and all that stuff, and then everybody was, like, robbing Apple stores? And then Apple sent a message to all those devices, and they were like, this device is stolen. Like, we're tracking basically where it's at. They were like, it's had a message, return it to the nearest Apple store. And it was like the police have been notified of like the location because you couldn't unlock them, couldn't do anything with it. And I was like, good God, that'd be like terrifying to get that message on a tablet. You know what I mean? Like, throw that shit in the river, dude. Like, keep booking it, man. You know, but I don't know, dude. Yeah, I don't think San Francisco's ever going to turn around anytime soon, man. I think it's just going to progressively keep getting worse. But one thing for a fact, if I owned a house or like, especially if I owned a business down there, I would shut everything. I'd sell shit for a loss. I'd pack my shit and I'd move, man.
Oh, well, most businesses are now.
Yeah,
like,
just get out of
it's
there.
becoming a ghost town because there's no, like, you can't say in business, especially like a mom and pop, they're getting robbed blind and they can't even do anything about it. They just have to sit there and let it happen. That's bullshit.
It's literally like, it's going to turn into like some Flint, Michigan shit, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like Detroit. You know, speaking of Detroit, man, I actually read like a crazy fact the other day. At one point in time, during like, when like all these automotive companies were there and it was really booming, right? I can't remember what year, like, we'll just say like the 50s. It was like mid 1900s, right? Detroit was the richest city in the entire world.
Damn.
In the entire world. And then now, look at it. It's just like decrepit.
Now
like
you
there's
can
houses,
buy like homes for like $2,000.
10 grand and shit, dude. Like, yeah, dude. That's amazing, man. So, I mean, I'm not saying how people should vote, but what you vote for plays a big fucking role in how your local community is going to operate, man.
Yeah, and also whenever you fuck up your own shit, don't go somewhere else and try to put in the same laws that made your shit get fucked.
Yeah. That's why I got faith, man, with like the people from California coming to Texas down here with us, man, because I like to think it's the people that are just like fed up with that shit and they're just moving out.
Most of the time it is, I've found. There's the saying, don't California my Texas.
Oh, dude, I saw the coolest thing the other day, man. I was driving, and it was in our town. I saw a U-Haul truck, and the dude had like a poster board, and they had like taped it on the back, and it was clearly a family moving. And I'm not making this up. I can't believe I didn't tell you this shit. It literally on the back it said "Fuck California." That's why we're moving to Texas. And I was like, oh my God. And then it had some other shit underneath it. And like the dude literally said, he was like, Democrats ruined like my business and all this other shit. And I was like, ooh, damn. Yeah, man. So, I mean, it's definitely, I'd never seen that. I've seen pictures of stuff like that online, but like I'd never seen it in person, you know? I was like, whoa, all right, brother.
Well, he'll definitely make some friends around here with that, so.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know, dude, but it'd be good. But also, like, you know, Texas is a way, I don't know, it's just way cooler, man, in my opinion. You know, like it really is the Wild West, like out here in some pockets of it. I mean,
it is like the only areas. We still have two major stupid things, but then the rest of it's cool.
No, what's your beefs?
Weed and abortions.
Yeah. I can see that. Oh, dude. Fuck. Yeah, hey, man, I wanted to talk about, before we get done with this episode, man, I wanted to bring back up old Elon Musk, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he's a freedom fighter for free speech at this point, man.
Dude, this guy is not backing down at all, dude.
He's the.
You want to tell the story, or what you want me to tell it?
Well, we got a video, so we'll show that up. But
watch the video first.
Yeah, I mean, he's a voice of the people at this point.
Yeah,
he's a real American hero. All right, let's watch the video. All right.
Now, obviously, you know that there's a public perception that, and you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
go fuck yourself.
In case you didn't hear it the first time.
I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If if part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
Why?
I understand that there's a reality too.
Fuck yourself.
Right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally. So, no. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do? It's going to kill the company.
And do you think that
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
Oh shit!
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things, and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. Right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
This.
Shit.
Okay, so I love how he says, let's see how Earth responds to that.
Yeah. So he's essentially just saying that like they have the potential to actually take down X.
No, I took it as...
Take them out?
Take down X?
Yeah, by like pulling like... Because they wouldn't be generating income from like all this marketing or whatnot.
No, I took it as he's like talking about Walmart and Apple and shit. Like they can't advertise, so they're gonna lose money off of advertising.
Is that what he was talking about?
Yeah,
okay,
because
I might think about the other way around.
It didn't. It was. They took this. There was like
we're
a
using
clip.
Yeah.
So, but before that, he was basically talking about like because he knows he bought X at a loss. He was like, I did that just because the people needed a platform for free speech. Yeah. So he knows that he took that at a loss. So he's kind of just fucking around with it. He doesn't really care. He's like, I don't need the money from the advertiser, so I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
So I think as long as he does that, which at this point he can.
I mean, we talked about it before. The dude's worth $225 billion. Yeah. And like, even though like the company X is worth a hell of a lot less, like I'm sure it's still profitable.
It will be. I think he needs to just double, which this is what he's doing, but he needs to just keep doubling down on shit. And as long as everyone knows that X is like a free-for-all, free speech platform, it will succeed.
I love X, dude. I never had a Twitter until he bought it. Like we talked about it, I think on last episode or two ago. Like I'd seen it before or whatever. I was like, this is kind of stupid. And then all the Twitter file shit dropped, and I was like, oh, this is dirty as hell.
Yeah.
Because our government was like really doing some backdoor shit with like big tech and everything, right? And I was like, nah, that's not cool. And then so he bought X, had all that shit audited, fucking had some journalists release all that shit, and then he cleaned all that crap. And then now you get on it and it's just like, it is a freaking free-for-all. I love it, dude. It's like the early days of the internet.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like anything goes. And like what's crazy...
It's what YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, it's what all those used to be.
Yeah. And it's like what's crazy is I was talking to like some younger guys, man, that I go to school with. You know, kids are like 21 years old, right? They don't have any concept of the internet how we know it when it first came out.
Like Break.com and
WorldStar
and all that shit.
Yeah, dude. So like... X is like this weird thing, and they actually have like a lot of them actually have like negative feelings.
Like they're afraid of it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's not right. You shouldn't be able to say whatever you want. I'm like, listen to what you're saying. Listen to the exact words of what you're saying right now. You shouldn't be able to say whatever you want. You really want to live in a fucking society?
That's a slippery fucking slope.
Yeah. It's cool when your people are in control.
Yeah. As long as you're saying stuff that people say it's okay, but as soon as the fucking roles are reversed and they're telling you to shut up,
it
you
ain't
might
gonna
have
be
a problem
cool.
with that.
Yeah, dude. So, but great ideas are also born out of the debating of bad ideas, right?
For sure.
I mean? So.
And if, like, I don't know, even if all the other social media platforms have to be censored and shit, as long as there's one thing that's going to speak truth and have news from both sides of the spectrum, that's okay.
So like all these companies like Apple, Walmart, like they're pulling advertising from X because of the tweet that Elon sent out a few days ago, and it was taken as like some anti-Semitic comments,
which he just tweeted on someone else's comment. Like he didn't just straight up say whatever it was. I don't remember exactly what it was.
And he came out and officially said, he was like, that was not my intention at all.
He said that was the stupidest thing I've ever done on social media. He said that shit.
But what I thought was cool is like he went to Israel, and even the clip they were talking about this, guys, how dirty like fucking media can be. He went to Israel and he was talking to like the president of Israel, like Netanyahu. I can't don't remember. And Elon Musk literally said that he would help rebuild Gaza once the war was over. Like, that's the coolest shit in the world. The dude, like, people forget, he essentially solved world hunger. You remember that?
Yeah.
Because what was it? Was it the World Health Organization or whatever? Or was it the UN? They were talking shit about him, basically being rich, and they were like, oh, he has all the power. Like, he could actually solve, like, world hunger. And he was like, how much would it cost? And they were like, $8 billion. And he was like, I'll write you a check if you make it open source. Everyone can see the auditing where every single dollar goes, and they refused to do it for like the longest time. Finally, they broke, and then he sold enough Tesla shares that he essentially solved world hunger. So, I don't know, man. Like, I mean,
solving world hunger is such like a fucking open term. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's still going on.
Yeah,
it's
all them homeless people in LA, I'm sure they're pretty hungry too. Like,
but it's just wild. I mean, I think, like, people shit on them, and they always, I mean, it's like anyone that's like a celebrity or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, really, anyone that has any conservative views. That's really,
that's
real
what it boils down to. Anyone who has an opinion that isn't altered by getting paid off.
Yes. And, like, they look for any little thing they can get in and just, like, twist a knife or whatever, you know what I mean? And to try to, like, I don't know, topple his fucking tower. I don't know what the hell, man. But, you know, and you see it time and time again. And it's actually kind of like, at this point, like, so many people are getting aware of this shit happening that it's actually pathetic. And then, like, when we see, like, media companies or, like, other corporations doing shit like this, people are just like, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
You know?
People are getting tired of it. I mean, if they talk, because eventually even the average dumbass has to see that at some point they're something that they believe in, one of their views is going to be targeted. So at the end, like, eventually you have to say enough is enough. People are responsible, or at least kind of smart enough to at least do their own research and at least think for themselves, or at least have the option to think for themselves. If they're going to be brainwashed, that's cool, but I want to have the option to fucking look into my own stuff.
It's good.
And I mean, people are right and wrong about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we all get shit wrong, but I don't know, at least have the option or the right to argue or debate about something else that you don't fucking believe in, and not just blindly fucking push your agenda for no goddamn reason.
You really want to live in a world where everyone tells you what to think?
Some people do, apparently.
The more I see on the internet, man, the more I'm like, yep, that's the world we live in.